Thank you so much, Rotimi, for joining us on the show today. First of all, your perspective on the market movement today. I thought we were about to get another bull run, but all of a sudden we see the market falling lower today.
Today, the market, for what happened today, is not far from what was being expected. If you watch the market since the beginning of this week, it's been a struggle to keep up. But on Monday, we saw it go down. Yesterday, it went up. And today, it actually happened the way it was being expected. If you look at what has been happening in the last 2 weeks, or even more, we've seen that the market has been going up, and we've attained an index level that we've not really been able to do in about 2 years back. And I think maybe for what happened, a lot of people believe that, okay, let's take it steady, and they're actually taking profit. So that is exactly what we saw today, with the index coming down by about 0.66%.
Well, of course, the market has run very aggressively over the last month. So clearly, we should expect some profit taking at some point. But I do notice that we continue to see strong demand for Zenith Bank shares. Why do you think we're seeing that?
I think there is a renewed interest in that stock by foreign portfolio investors, because much of the sales that are being made are absorbed by foreign portfolio investors. And that has been on for more than a month now. And there has really been a good quantum of shares that have been exchanged in that process. So I believe strongly that it's what they have seen in that stocks, the fundamentals, the income, and the future growth of that bank, and also the brand, which has been very well accepted in the country.
Well, clearly the banking sector is a sector that most investors are very keen about in Nigeria. But recently we've seen the likes of Transcorp and Forte Oil come to the fore, of course, because of their links to bids for power companies. Of course, we did see those results released yesterday. Transcorp is invested in Ughelli power plant, and of course, Forte Oil is in another consortium invested in another plant. We've seen some interest in the stock, especially yesterday. Are we seeing that interest continuing today?
Yeah, it's actually continued today. And there isn't much of Forte Oil shares in the market, but there was a high demand for Transcorp shares. The closing demand today was about 113 million shares on field bids. And we believe that this trend may still continue, maybe running through Friday.
You mentioned that there isn't much supply of Forte Oil shares. And of course, this leads me to ask the question about the effectiveness of plans to have of the execution of the market-making strategy that we've seen recently introduced to the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Essentially, what we expect is that market makers should provide two-way quotes for shares, and of course, which implies that they do have those shares in supply, in other words, boosting liquidity. To what extent would you say that things have improved for the stocks that have been listed by the companies that are making markets in those shares?
I think there's a way we need to look at it critically. The introduction of the market-making process, which is in tranches, I believe that process is faulted in itself. And it has resulted in a situation whereby the market makers themselves are not coming up the way they should. Because I believe strongly that if everything has come on board at the same time, it will create more effectiveness, and it will engender more belief in the process. But for what we have now, we've not really seen much of the effect of the market makers in all of this. Because at any point in time, they are supposed to supply when there is demand, they're supposed to take up when there is excess supply. But for what we have seen now, is not really being the case. But for the case of Transcorp shares, Transcorp is not one of the companies that have been that have come up in the first tranche for the market-making process. So it may really be the reason why we see how some stocks going up excessively and some coming down uncontrollably because of the because they have not been introduced yet into the market-making process.
Well, certainly one company that we know that is one of those companies shortlisted is Fitsin, and we saw that company share price rallies dramatically last week. I think gained almost 50%. Give me a sense of the liquidity of that stock. If I wanted to buy that stock right now, is it available?
Wow, today it closed on offer today. So that means you can get as much as you want today. And
right.
if on a lighter note, that could even help the market making process for you to take up whatever that is available in the market today. So you could actually get it for today. But more so because of profit taking.
Right. Well, clearly, I can imagine that many traders will want to take profit on that stock after gaining almost 60%. Which other stocks do you think we should be looking at right now? Of course, the market is taking a breather. It has run dramatically over the last month. Today, we're seeing it give back some of those gains. But as it does, which stocks do you think investors should be positioning in right now?
I believe strongly that we are approaching the end of another quarter. And maybe in about 2-3 weeks' time, results will start coming in again for Q3. And I think for some of the stocks that investors may really have to look at are still some in the banking sector, such as Skybank, Diamond Bank, and even UBA, and maybe First Bank as well. Then maybe in the productions in the real sector, we can actually look at flour mill. Flour mill, I believe, is fast coming up and is being likened in terms of profitability, in terms of acceptability to Nigerian breweries, which is over 100 naira. So definitely, for what I see, I believe that stock is still going places.
Rotimi, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we can't take it further. Appreciate your time with us on CNBC Africa today. We look forward to speaking to you again sometime soon. And that was Rotimi Fakayejo reaching us from the stock exchange.